Hello everyone, my name is Fiona. I'm here to help you with all things woo. So if you're new, welcome. What I do is I have two main jobs. First one is I'm a psychic intuitive spiritual teacher. I help people develop their skills, either learning to read cards or psychic development. But I'm also a business coach helping high vibe card readers who want to get out there and get started with their own business. So I do twofold. But my favorite thing to do is to help people learn more about the woo. So today's topic is intuitive and psychic. Are they different? What are they? What's going on here? Because you see this a lot splashed all over the place. And I'm just going to get down to the nuts and bolts of it so there's no more confusion. So if you go to Oxford Dictionary right off the bat, go back and open up my phone again. That's where my notes are. Intuitive means using an adjective, using or based on what one feels to be true, even without conscious reasoning. Instinctive. Okay, so that's intuitive. Then, psychic. Adjective. Relating to or denoting faculties or phenomena that are apparently inexplicable by natural laws, especially involving telepathy or clairvoyance, psychic powers. Insert Twilight Zone theme, right? Or X-Files, whatever your jam is. So intuitive is used very much in the sense of your own intuition, reading your own body, going by your gut instinct. And you see a lot of intuitive development classes, which are focused on your unseen senses, or I call them your soft senses. And that's the missing link between the two, because we talk about intuitive and we talk about psychic, but what we're talking about in both categories are the soft senses, the senses we don't learn as kids. When we're in school, we learn about the hard senses from hard science because we can measure them very easily. We can measure taste, we can measure touch, we can measure sound, we can measure sight. These are all measurable in the 3D realm. Then we have our soft senses, this clairsentience, this feeling, clairempathy, the feeling embodying somebody else's emotions, clairvoyance, the clear seeing images and ideas in your head, clear cognizance, this clear knowingness, this intuitive clear knowingness that we have, clear audience, the hearing, and then we have the taste, and we have the smell with no apparent source around us, but we know it's there. We can taste it, we can smell it. So both categories of intuitive and psychic are dealing with what I call the clear senses. They're not your everyday senses. They're not the senses we learn in school to build and develop. However, we're all born with these senses. Yes, I'm going to get some haters. They aren't gifts. They're not born with wonderful gifts. Some people are born, I believe everybody's born with their senses, their clair senses on. It's just a matter of, if you don't use it, you lose it. It's like any muscle. And for some, it just stuck around. They have bigger and brighter senses. Like some people have great eyesight, great hearing, amazing taste buds. And then some have poor eyesight, poor hearing. So it's like regular senses, but we don't use them. They're not taught about, they're not accepted. I have to admit, I've read a couple of journals. I can't remember where they are, but they are discovering these micro senses we have on the back of our neck and going down our governing meridian, where we can pick things up. So they're saying there are these extrasensory sensors in our physical body. So there might actually be a legitimate claim to these clairs. So when we work or when you hear the phrase. So let's package that up. We have this third category. What both groups are actually talking about are clairs. So when we get to the intuitive, when we talk about intuitive work, we're working with those clairs. When we're doing intuitive development, we're working with those clairs. So we're sensing in our body where something feels right. We're getting ideas and inspiration to do things. That's claircognizance. We just have a vision, this sense of something, or we get an idea, or we can see it, or we heard a song and I had to write out the song. Clairaudience. And so when we do the intuitive work, we're working with those senses, and it's geared towards us working with ourselves. Intuitive work is more psychic work for ourselves. I said it there, eh? Did you catch it? Psychic work on ourselves. Then when you go to see somebody to do an intuitive reading, what an intuitive reading is using the clairs, and the reader is getting messages using their clairs and telling them what they're picking up from the universe and telling the person, which is psychic work. Because you can't measure it, you don't know where it's coming from. You have to trust the person is tuning in properly. So when I hear about intuitive versus psychic, it's the same thing. You're working with the clairs. It's psychic development. It's when I hear the word psychic, it just means science hasn't caught up with it yet. In the same way, we have a large light spectrum. We can't see all the different frequencies of light. We can't hear all the different frequencies. Other animals can, but I can't. Doesn't mean it's not there. And so we just haven't found a way to measure it and understand it with science. So science hasn't caught up with it yet, but it is there. That's all psychic is. So, because energy is energy is energy. It's just, we just don't have the tools to measure it yet. So why work with it? So when I hear about intuitive versus psychic, I don't know if I should see an intuitive or a psychic. A psychic should have developed their intuitive skills on themselves first and been building their senses and working those senses. They don't have to be perfect in all the clairs, as not everybody's perfect in all their senses, but they can show good evidence using their clairs. That's what a psychic is, in my opinion, is someone who has done the work with their senses and can read other people, can read themselves. And, you know, they've worked with their energy. They potentially are channels. They can do mediumship, potentially. I believe everyone, if they worked on it, could do some form of mediumship. But that's more the psychic, because a lot of people fear the psychic realm. What we've done is we've created the intuitive, which seems way nicer and safer because everybody gets a gut instinct or a gut feeling. Unbeknownst to them, that's like a combination of clairsentience and claircognizance. It's very tough with our current systems and ideologies to come out and say, by the way, that's psychic. It's much safer to say it's intuitive. So if you're sitting on the fence of developing your psychic abilities and you have this fear or concern due to previous paradigms in our society, our schooling, our upbringing, brought up in churches or brought up in certain families where it was considered faux pas, you can start with the realm of intuitive work, because that's how I actually begin psychic development. Is I get all my students to focus on your own senses. Use your own senses and use it on yourself, your work, your family. Go from there. Don't go around trying to read other people. That because you don't have the strong, your senses aren't strong enough. They're just not there yet. Some, yes, I've met some people in my psychic development level 1 go, boom, they're already there. Like, dang, hey, they're really open and they just fine-tuned. But for the most part, I find most people are just discovering, you know, they can see things or they can feel things. They just have a knowingness. They can hear a lot of things. So it's teaching the tools to work on oneself. So intuitive and psychic are the same thing. Just one is, I'd say the psychic has really developed. They should have developed their senses. And the intuitive is you're working on oneself. You're working on oneself and working your own path. That's why I'm very cautious when I see intuitive readers. It's you're a psychic reader as well, but they've chosen the safe route because people go psychic. But psychic is that whole realm of unseen and channeling and mediumship. But not all psychics are mediums because they haven't worked on that skill. Because it is a skill, it's an energy to lean into. So that's why some intuitives don't go that route. But I'll tell you at the end of the day, intuitive is psychic, psychic is intuitive. Because at the end of the day, the reader is working their senses with the environment to see what's going on. We have our free will and our energetic sovereignty to work with the energies, even if we do trance mediumship and we're doing full channeling and we offer our voice, not our free will, our voice over to something. That's still psychic, and it starts from the foundational step of I want to work with my intuition to build my psychic development, my psychic skills, or my clairs. So at the end of the day, intuitive work is psychic work. In order to become a psychic, you need to start with the intuitive. But at the end of the day, both groups are working with the clairs. So it goes back to working the clairs, which everyone has access to if they desire to start working with their senses again. Because I have worked with a variety of students and I have yet to meet anyone who's interested in doing the work, not have at least one clair they can tap into and at least amplify and work on. So I hope this settles the whole debate between intuitive versus psychic, because there is no real difference. It's more of a societal science line, but at the end of the day, it comes down to working with the clairs and the amount of work someone puts into it and how they use it on a day-to-day basis. So there you go. I hope that helps. As I said earlier at the beginning of this video, I'm here to help people step into the woo-woo world, the different side of the coin for everyone. So I hope that helped. So please like and subscribe if you would like more videos about the woo-woo, the metaphysical, and all things fun. You can check out all my links below. If you have any questions about me, you can check it all out. So have a beautiful day, everyone. Take care.